All right, let's get right into it. If you've been trying to keep up with the DMV housing market, you know it's been a total roller coaster. But those days of insane bidding wars and the frantic pace, they're starting to fade into something new. And that's what we're going to break down for 2026, this major shift, and what it really means for you, whether you're thinking about buying, selling, or just keeping an eye on things. So I want to start with this quote because it's pretty much the most important idea for the whole year ahead. It's from Lisa Sturdivant, the economist at Bright MLS. See, this isn't about some dramatic crash or huge, speedy bounce back. Nope. It's something else entirely. Something that really signals a fundamental change in the rhythm of the market. So, what in the world is a reset year? Well, think of it like the market is finally taking a much-needed deep breath. For buyers, this is great news. It means more options on the table and way less of that frantic pressure. And for sellers, yeah, the days of getting 10 offers in a single weekend might be over, but the good news is your home's value is holding pretty steady. It's all about a move toward balance. Okay, so what's actually causing this big reset? It really just boils down to three key things that are shaping the market in 2026. How much it costs to borrow money, how many homes are actually for sale, and of course, how many people are buying them. First things first, mortgage rates. The latest forecast is predicting that the average rate is going to settle somewhere around 6.15% by the end of 2026. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's not the super low rate we saw a few years back, but it is a little bit of a dip from 2025, and that gives everyone a little bit of relief. But what does a small rate drop like that actually feel like? What does it mean for your bank account? Well, on a pretty typical $650,000 home here in the DMV, that could save you around $200 a month. And in a high-cost area like this, that is some meaningful breathing room. The second major force here is inventory. And this chart really shows the big news for buyers. We're expecting a 14% jump in the number of homes on the market. That translates to more choice and less of that, oh my gosh, I have to buy this house right now kind of feeling. But okay, let's add a little context here because it's important. While inventory is getting better for buyers, it's not exactly a paradise just yet. We are still way below the number of available homes that we saw before the pandemic craziness started. And the final piece of this puzzle is sales activity. After a couple of really quiet years, the market is finally starting to thaw out. We're looking at almost an 8% jump in home sales right here in the DMV. It's a really clear sign that both buyers and sellers are starting to feel more confident about making a move. Now, as anybody who lives around here knows, the DMV is not just one single housing market, right? The experience of buying or selling a home feels totally different depending on if you're in the district, out in the Maryland suburbs, or over in Northern Virginia. This gives you a great little summary at a glance. You can see DC is getting a pretty big bump in inventory, mostly driven by its urban core. Then you have Maryland, which is just the picture of stability, thanks to all those federal jobs in the biotech industry. In Northern Virginia, it's seeing this huge surge in homes for sale, but is still holding strong on price. Three very different stories. Let's zoom in on the district itself for a second. Home prices still expected to climb. But look at that rental market. A vacancy rate of almost 9%. That is more than double what we used to consider normal. And that means renters, for the first time in a while, have more leverage. The market is definitely rebalancing. Now, let's head over to Maryland, where the whole story is about one thing: stability. With a foundation of more than 150,000 federal workers and a world-class biotech hub, the demand for housing is just incredibly consistent. This solid economic bedrock is exactly why we're seeing that steady, moderate price growth. And then you've got Northern Virginia, which is just a fascinating case study. Prices are holding firm, but get this: inventory is set to surge by nearly 36%. Arlington is the real standout here, with a median price pushing $800,000, all fueled by that unique urban-suburban vibe and, of course, the full power of Amazon's HQ too. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get to the important part, the how. How do you actually succeed in this new, more balanced market? Well, here is a clear playbook, whether you're a buyer or a seller. For buyers, listen up. 2026 is probably the best opportunity you've had in years. First, get pre-approved early so you are ready to pounce. Second, with less competition, you might actually be able to negotiate on homes that need a little work. And most important, know your hyper-local market. What's happening in one zip code can be a totally different world from the one right next door. Sellers, you are still in a great position, but the game has definitely changed. It is absolutely critical now to price your home correctly from day one. Because with more houses for buyers to choose from, presentation is everything. And finally, timing is key. That spring market could get very, very busy. Okay, let's pull all this together. What is the single biggest takeaway from this whole market reset? Well, it's really about learning how to thrive in this new, more balanced reality, this new normal. So let's look at the big picture on affordability. For the first time in a long, long time, the numbers are showing that income growth is actually set to grow faster than both inflation and home prices. What that means is, on a relative basis, housing is actually becoming a little bit more affordable. And that's a huge shift. So who comes out on top in 2026? Well, it's not about luck anymore, it's all about strategy. It's the people who do their homework, who are realistic about what they can afford and what their home is worth, and who can act with confidence, but not with panic. Preparation is absolutely everything. So there you have it. The Great Housing Reset is here. It's bringing a much-needed sense of balance and some brand new opportunities back to the DMV. The only question left is, are you ready for it?